Minecraft 1.20 introduced a surplus of blocks, some definitely more useful than others. In fact, there are over 900 blocks that exist in the game today, and I'm collecting every single one of them in under 24 hours.
Who thought this shit was a good idea? Because I certainly didn't.
What inspired me to do this is when I came across a video by a guy named Mog Swamp where he attempted to collect every single block in the game in under 24 hours with his friend, and unfortunately he failed because he missed a block. In their playthrough, he counted the pillager banner as a block that he needed to collect because of its custom design, which is fine. It's its own natural occurring block. But if that's true, wouldn't you say the exact same thing about the Woodland Mansion banner with its own custom design? So I aim to completely annihilate their video by placing one singular block, and I'm going to be doing it all alone. Is this even possible? Well, of course it is. Look at the title and thumbnail. I'm not a clickbaiter. What am I? A stupid piece of fucking shit. Before I started, I made a schematic of the entire thing, replacing every single block one by one in creative. And I'm also going to be using an Eterno server for this, because they have quality free server hosting, and hey, if they're lying, beggars can't be choosers. Anyways, I started doing runs on a Wednesday, mainly just for practice. Also, what I'm going for is getting to the end within the first few hours so I can get full diamond and an elytra super early. And after failing 4 runs, I started my 5th run on a Friday, around 5:30 p.m. This day and time will be important later. And I had incredible luck with this world, immediately getting full iron armor and running into a woodland mansion, which is about 2 times rarer than finding a mushroom biome. And after this super close call to find what seems to be a nuclear reactor inside of this mansion, which I've literally never seen before until this day, I grabbed the only thing I needed from this place, that being the custom banner, and around the time that I left, it was the end of hour 1. Oh yeah, it turns out that nuclear reactor room had a diamond block in the middle, which I never went back for. After searching for longer than I should have, I found a village where I set up my base and immediately went out to explore again because I finally had an empty inventory. Before exploring, I made another portal because if I was going to pull this off, I needed an elytra as soon as possible. I also found a pillager outpost. Incredibly luckily, I found a cherry blossom biome, which is one of the 3 biomes that I thought were going to be incredibly difficult to find. I also found a mountain where I can grow a frog to get the frog lamp, as well as the deep slate emerald. After that, I planted dark oak trees around my base so then I could trade with the villagers that I trapped underneath my house. And that was the end of hour 2. I started hour 3 by working on the villagers because mending, unbreaking, and silk touch was going to be crucial to this challenge, and I worked on that all of hour 3 surprisingly. I decided at the beginning of hour 4 that I needed to go to the end, so I went through the portal, and I kid you not, after a total of wandering for 7 minutes, I found the nether fortress, which is crazy lucky. And once again, after leaving the nether fortress, I found a warped forest, which provided me all the ender pearls that I would need to go to the end. By the time I got back and I was trading for the rest of the extra ender pearls I might need, it was already the beginning of hour 5. But quickly I got the ender pearls that I needed, and I ran straight towards the stronghold. 30 minutes later, and I'm fighting the ender dragon, which I'm not going to dwell on because I already know you've seen it a million times. But after killing it and grabbing the dragon egg, I went through the remote gateway, and in less than 5 minutes, I ran into an end city with a ship. This incredible luck will hopefully allow me to collect every single block within the next 19 hours, because now with this elytra, I'll be able to fly for the rest of the video to hopefully find the rest of the 900 plus blocks. After returning victorious, I finished out hour 5 by trading with villagers for XP and emerald. At the start of hour 6, I placed on the schematic and I built the entire thing, which took the whole hour. So yeah. After that, my stomach started to hurt because now it was 12:30 a.m. and I was already 7 hours into this challenge and only had the foundation for the schematic built. Granted, I did have elytra flight and the dragon egg, but this still left literally every single block in the game that needed to be placed. I also started to panic for another reason. I started practicing runs on a Wednesday and now it was Friday. This wouldn't be an issue because the next day was a weekend day. What I forgot is that Saturday was my high school's homecoming, which is terrifying because I preferably would like to get some sleep before that night for at least a few hours with some time to get ready. But this run was so successful, and if I were to leave it now, it would have been a wasted golden potential of a run, and everything would have been lost. So I had no choice but to continue in this race against the clock. I started placing the basic blocks down like pumpkins, grass, and some wood variants, just general blocks that I had already had that I could just place down. I then completed the entire regular stone sections, followed by the cobblestone and brickstone sections. I also got some iron varieties in there, like pressure plates, the block, and iron bars. At this point, I was in call with Snow and Parm, and they started to critique my schematic a little bit.
It looks like so little, does it not?
Yeah, it's not very big for every single block in the entire game.
I mean, even the painting is not really blocked.
Yeah, I mean, the technically are blocks, but
They technically aren't.
you can place them, can't you?
That doesn't make it a block, Nolan.
Well, it's just any placeable Minecraft
You can place
item.
redstone. Is there redstone in there?
Yeah,
Is there streak sensors?
yeah.
Show me. Slime block. Where's the slime block? Observers? Yo, okay. Amethyst block.
Where's the
Wait, sponge. We have a
Blue
sponge.
blue netherrack. Blue fire. Fire. You don't have fire.
Oh my god, he does that. Yo, wait, you don't have either
That's a
fire.
block.
I'll
Fire
go-
is a block.
Let's go. That's definitely a block.
I think
Let's
you actually
go.
taught me. Wait, like the fireplace or like the
Fire, yup.
fire.
Place
stuff?
fire. You
fire.
don't have it.
Soul fire. Flint, still
Okay,
fire.
I guess you
Yeah.
caught me there. You caught me
Let's
there.
go. Let's
We
go.
got an extra one because you don't have both of the fires, bro. Let's
Okay,
go.
the fire. Okay, I can't believe I
That
lost
was
the
such a
fucking
rebound.
fire.
At this point, we're now into hour 8, and things really need to speed up, or else we will never complete this challenge in time. After getting completely swarmed by drowns trying to get andesite, I ran around getting all the dye I needed because the colored items take about 1/5 of all the blocks in the game, so getting these were crucial. After placing a few more miscellaneous blocks, I grabbed some beehives, smelted some sand into glass, and made a bee farm for all the candles and waxed copper I'm gonna need. I also collected sheep to dye for all the banners, beds, carpet, and wool I'm gonna need. By the way, each colored block has 16 variants to it, so with 12 different multicolored blocks multiplied by 16, we get a grand total of 192 different blocks just with color alone. Now we're pretty much in hour 9, and by this point I was starting to get a tad woozy, as you'll probably see in some of these clips from me just doing nothing. Still continuing to finish off some of the wood variants, I grabbed some ferns from the nearby jungle as well as some vines to make mossy cobblestone and mossy stone bricks. By the end of the hour, I have almost all of the interactable blocks placed down, as well as both beehives. I also went ahead and grabbed most of the wood that was being left out, like the fence posts, the signs, and the doors and trapdoors. The only real thing I'm missing now is the mangrove wood type entirely. Also, around this point, I went ahead and placed down all of the saplings, which I'm putting in pots so they don't grow. And now we have entered hour 10 of the challenge, filling in the nether blocks because they were pretty easy to get, like blackstone bricks and the nether ores. Right now I'm just making sure I have all the dyes in the game needed to collect everything, because after getting these sheep I was gonna need some dye left over in order to get the glass and the candles and stuff. By this point I was already shearing the sheep, collecting wool for the beds, banners, and carpet I was gonna need. While I was waiting for the sheep to get their wool back, I took care of some more blocks like basalt. Here's an incident of my tiredness. I'm trying to craft smooth stone using the exact same recipe I just tried over and over again when I just needed to smelt it. Goes to show what lack of sleep does to you kids. After that midlife crisis of a crafting catastrophe, I went ahead and crafted all the concrete power I needed, which took care of 32 blocks at once, which is crazy when you think about it. After that, I sheared the sheep and placed down all the beds after crafting them in one sitting, which was very satisfying. Before hour 10 was up, I went ahead and completed all of the leaves I needed, excluding mangrove, which I have yet to find and I'm sort of panicking. But hey, there are plenty of things to panic about, and if this graph has taught me anything, I should just keep going and not worry about it. Anyway, at the beginning of hour 11, I went mining because there were still some ores I needed, like deep slate diamond and deep slate coal. I also needed gold, iron, and redstone for the tracks and the minecarts that I needed to make. After placing all the ores I collected, as well as some tuff and glow berries, I went ahead and crafted the item frames and got all the wool and carpet I needed to place down on the schematic. I then sheared some sheep. I then sheared some sheep and crafted every single banner in one sitting, which, once again, it was very satisfying. I returned to the mines where I continued to grab all the sculk blocks and the amethyst blocks I needed. Near the end of the hour, I decided to go ahead and craft all of the candles I needed with the wax that I had been collecting and almost placed every single colored block by the time hour 11 was up. Now it's hour 12, and at this point, with zero caffeine, I was surprised to have a random burst of energy, which was nice, but I still felt delirious. I started the hour by placing some campfires and then severely lagging because it turns out these Eternal servers suck during certain times of the morning. Then I placed torches and lanterns and minecarts and the polished blackstone pressure plate and button. This is an example of me wanting to kill myself, as you can see from me not being able to move and not being able to find ground. After getting to the mine, I grabbed some gold ore and the deep slate variant along with the amethyst cluster varieties that I missed the first time I was here. Then I headed back to base where I placed all the remaining ores. And after placing the amethyst clusters, I went ahead and made all the deep slate blocks and placed them down in their respective spots. This also included the cracked deep slate bricks, which I didn't even know existed, so leave in the comments if you did, because I literally had no idea they were in the game until now. I put some glass around the minecart so they wouldn't move, and quickly realized how many hanging signs I hadn't placed yet, so I went ahead and got a few out of the way. I also decided it was probably time to start aging the copper, because if I don't do this now, I'll never be able to do it in time. I also went ahead and smelted the kelp to make the kelp block I needed, and just like that, I had a lot more blocks placed. Now we're into hour 13, and I started off by placing the nether brick blocks, which I gotta say, the wither skull one is tough. I'm also surprised I didn't have this down by now, but dirt is officially in the blocks that I've collected, along with the path block. Oh yeah, here's the cracked nether brick block, which I knew existed, but I had never seen in game. Around this time, I had been thinking about what I should wear to homecoming because I wasn't going to have time to plan now because I couldn't do anything else other than play Minecraft. Continuing on, I was surprised to see that I'm placing water for the first time, along with kelp and seagrass. As long as I can land, Jesus Christ. After dealing with that, I decided it was time to finish out all the colors, so I grabbed the leftover glass from making the bee farm, and I made all the glass blocks in panes, which looks really cool sped up. And I decided to waste 2 minutes of my time making this shitty little glass half box. I then moved on to the regular and glazed terracotta, which making these was a lot easier than I thought it would be. And these blocks are some of my favorite looking blocks so far. And after placing those down, I went ahead and got the mud blocks, and after that, I headed towards the mountains where I collected some powdered snow and regular snow for the collection. And after that, I decided to dig deep, which led me into the deep dark where I was able to get every single sculk block I needed. Then I flew to the end on a scouting trip, and on my way I picked up some of the ice variants. And while I was in the end looking for loot in end cities, this happened.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Jesus Christ, for placing this block here for me to survive.
Yeah, this clip turned me Christian. Then, I found a jungle temple where I was able to find a good amount of blocks. This gave me the sticky piston I needed along with the redstone repeater and some other nifty blocks.
Here's an example of my tiredness. Yeah, pretty retard move if I do say so myself. And right after that, I kept getting slingshotted on the server running at 1 players who is loading only 10 chunks.
But anyway, I got back and placed all the blocks I got from the temple. I also got ice from the nearby mountain, but was having trouble with the blue ice when these guys showed up. In this moment, I'm pretty sure they thought I couldn't see them up until I got close. And after completing the raid, I decided to go work on the villagers because I still needed some books like Silk Touch and Looting. And I did this for about 15 minutes to get the trades I needed. I went ahead and moved all the copper I'm oxidizing over near my house so it would be constantly loaded. And now we're in hour 14 and I feel like die, but there's no time for undeniable sadness. I have a mission to accomplish, and if I want to show these 1 million subscriber big shots that their 5 million view video ain't shit, then I gotta pick up the pace. I made a sharpness looting diamond sword because I plan to go to the end to get the shulker shells I needed to make all the different colored shulker boxes, but first I need some more diamonds, and that should be good. I also decided to go ahead and make the redstone comparator, which I never thought I would learn how to use, but I actually did. I placed down the hopper as well as the piston and the honey block. And for what's the first time in like 9 hours, I'm going out to explore this Minecraft world to find the remaining blocks I need. And after a little bit of exploring, I found my first key source of blocks, that being an ocean monument where I collected the blocks of sponges, prismarine blocks, and the sea lantern. And then I continued my exploration at the end of hour 14. I ran into a desert where I found cactus, dead bushes, and a big one, a desert village, where I found all the smooth stone blocks I would ever need, and amazingly there was a coral reef right next to it. This was one of the luckiest finds ever because there were well over 35 blocks that were biome specific and they were literally right next to each other. After grabbing all the coral, I continued the exploration and ran into the next big biome, being the mesa biome, where I grabbed all the red sand I would ever need and continued the expedition. Traveling through the world, I found this beautiful oceanside mountain with a jungle at the top of it, and this kind of randomly generated beauty is the reason why I love this game, because every single world is uniquely yours and your story unfolds differently every time you play, and it's reasons like this why I love this game so much. I stopped at a nearby acacia village to breed some turtles and get some turtle eggs, and while I was there I grabbed the blast furnace. After a lot more exploring, I found what I'm claiming to be the biggest mushroom island ever in Minecraft, because this is definitely the biggest one I found in my Minecraft career, and I've been doing this for 11 years, so yeah. This island gave me an important block, that being the mycelium, which is only obtainable through wandering traders and finding it normally. And just look at the size of this island, oh my god! Probably should have been more careful.
Hello everybody, my name is Atlas Wolf, and welcome to Collecting Every Block in 24 Hours. Nolan didn't really want to fucking record this part for hour 16, so let's just blast through, and let's get doing. So I'm blasting through hour 15 into hour 16. I continued my adventure on where I actually didn't do very much, just more villagers and pillager outposts, but I did get the ferns I needed for the spruce biome, and in the spruce biome, I spotted an azalea tree, and I kind of dug everything up into a lush cave, where I grabbed this big flower, a drip leaf, some glowberries, and some roots. After grabbing every block I didn't have, I decided that my adventure had gone on long enough, and I started to head back home, and I did this at the perfect time. It started to become night as I passed over a swamp biome, and I saw a huge slime hopping around. Normally, slime won't spawn on the surface anywhere, except if it's in a swamp biome and on a full moon. And Lady Luck was on my side, because that's exactly what happened. And since I was in a swamp biome, I used those slime balls to breed some frogs, and got some tadpoles for the frog lights, which I'll get like a little later on. And now, with my adventure fully over, I flew all the way home while the chunks wouldn't load, but eventually I made my way back. And finally, after getting home, I went ahead and placed every single block I had collected over the long course of my adventure. I set up the frame for all the paintings I'm going to place. And after not crafting paintings for some reason, I went and killed a ghast for its tears, and went to the Nether Fortress to try to get some more Wither Skulls. And after 15 minutes, I managed to get one, which is not great. Now that we're on hour 17, I am sorry for the reading. I appreciate for all you guys listening to me do instead of Nolan. And go check out Year of the Wolf merch over on Atlas Wolf YT.
On my adventure, I managed to get enough crying obsidian to make a respawn anchor, and I also decided to make a trap chest to get it out of my way before I forget it. I also placed lava on the ground beside the lava in the cauldron, which technically these are the same, but I bet I know 2 people who would say otherwise. I also made the end crystal, and at this point, there were only a few blocks left to nab before I completed the challenge. I decided to go get 17 easy blocks out of the way, that being the shulker boxes. After entering the end, I flew straight past the remote gateway that I had used before, and flew right out into the void. Very quickly, I found an end city, and also found a shulker box using fly hacks, and this is the first time I had ever seen something like this, and I was very surprised by it. After that, I began to hack away at the shulkers, and now my looting 3 sword has a purpose, other than getting just a shit ton of gunpowder. And right at the end of hour 17, I had enough shulker shells, and I was on my way. I crafted all the shulker boxes, and made every single color in one sitting, which, once again, was extremely satisfying. I placed all the shulker boxes down where they belonged, and went to make all the paintings I needed. And by this point, we're going into hour 18, and after placing a hanging jungle sign, I went ahead and made some cake, which definitely didn't take me a million years. Then, after grabbing some powdered snow off the nearby mountain, I decided it was finally time to go and search for a mangrove swamp. And after about 25 minutes of flying and then about 5 minutes of walking with a broken elytra, I'd finally found the last wood type, which my mic was muted, but as you can tell, I was very happy. The challenge actually seemed possible, and now the future from this point was very bright. After grabbing every block that the mangrove swamp had to offer, I marked the swamp just in case I needed to come back, and then I flew all the way back home and placed all the mangrove variants of the wood, and now I was finally done with all of the wood types. And for the next 20 minutes, I did some tidbit stuff around the base, and after that thunderstorm had begun, I had previously trapped the creeper inside of a cobblestone box with a copper rod in the ground, so then the creeper could be charged without having to use a trident, getting around having to get one entirely. But unfortunately, the box was too close cut, and after a second lightning strike, the creeper died because it was way too close. I started to panic because this storm could end at any second, and I needed to trap and strike another creeper before it was too late. After running around, I found another creeper and charged it, then trapped it in a boat, but not before I broke the copper rod. Right after I finished this, I was entering hour 19 with only a few blocks left to go. I wanted all of the wood stuff to be truly done, so I got every single wood type in the game and crafted every single boat and chest boat variant in the game in one sitting, which, if you haven't already probably guessed, it was very satisfying. I grabbed some nether grass for the collection and placed the mangrove sapling down in the pot. And it was at this point I decided to go sniffer egg hunting, because I know I needed to, mainly so that the seeds would go faster, and another egg to place for the collection. And I was flying home with both eggs when the clock hit hour 20. With the eggs placed and hatching, I made a conduit, which I didn't even realize I had the stuff to make. And then I went to the nether to grab the rest of the wither skulls I needed. And after making a huge platform out of nether brick and lowering and raising my chunk render distance while facing the platform, I caused a large amount of mobs to spawn. So that way I got all the wither skulls I needed, but not without having a little bit of a breakdown. After returning, I swiftly got right to killing the wither, and then I realized I had no animal ready to die from the wither in order to get the wither rose. And realizing I would have had to done all that bullshit over again, I resorted to my only option. Kill it. Kill it. Kill it. Kill it. Kill it. Kill it. There we go. After getting the wither rose and killing the wither, the clock struck hour 21, and now things were getting serious. I checked on the sniffer eggs, and I was shocked to see that they hadn't even hatched yet, but then I realized I haven't been rendering these chunks long enough for them to even begin to hatch. I sheared the sheep for about the millionth time, because this is going to be important for getting ancient debris later. I then started on getting the mobs for the mob heads, and I'd already planned out how to do it. The plan was fly a little ways out, where I would place a second nether portal to go through, and save the coordinates of. Then, after getting every mob I needed in a boat and clear the nether portal at my base, I would then lead a charged creeper towards that portal, but not go through it, but then fly all the way back to the other nether portal, where I would go through that one, and then fly back to my original portal, where then the creeper would blow up, and I would get all the mob heads at once. And as you can see by my very fast montage, I did it. By the way, that went all the way into hour 21. Oh yeah, and before doing the mob heads, the copper was ready to place, so I placed down every single piece and used my axe to get them to the exact level of oxidation that I needed them to be at. Then I waxed half. I also sheared the sheep again and checked the sniffer pen, where I added a line of dirt so they would get grass. And now we are into the most difficult challenge: getting the deep slate emerald. This could literally take hours. This has ruined runs for people in the past. This could be the devastating block that ends this entire challenge, ruining 21 hours. Oh. Guess not. You can't make this stuff up. I didn't give much of a reaction, probably due to lack of sleep, but watching this back is mind-blowing to me. After placing the Deep Slate Emerald, I took all the wool I've been harvesting over the entire challenge, and after packing about 1 trillion beds, I went to work on getting ancient debris. And after an aggressive amount of mining, I had all of the ancient debris I needed. But now we have an hour and a half left. Time is truly running out. I swiftly started to smelt all the ancient debris as efficiently as possible, and while that was happening, I ran back to the nether to get the gold to make the bricks. And finally, I had placed both the lodestone and the netherite block, with only the sniffer blocks and the frog lanterns left to go. I went straight towards the mountain to grow the first tadpole, and 20 minutes later, I swiftly got the magma cube out of its hole and through the nether portal, where it was the frog's breakfast. Then I headed straight towards the mangrove swamp, where a frog already was waiting for me, and I got the magma cube through the nether portal again, and this one was the frog's lunch. And lastly, I went towards the regular swamp, where I got the last nether portal set up and the last magma cube through the portal. And his cousins pulled up and had something to say about it, so I killed them all, and that's just how it went. And just like that, I had every single frog lamp in the game. After replacing the broken blocks and placing down the frog lanterns, I went over to the grown-up sniffers where they had already sniffed up some pitcher pods and some torch flower seeds. So I bred them and got another sniffer egg which I needed and ran down and placed it in its spot. Then finally, I grew the pitcher pods and the torch flower seeds, and after grabbing just one more torch flower seed, and after having a mini panic attack about getting the last pitcher pod, it was complete. I got every single block in Minecraft, proving that it was possible for just one man to collect every single part of a game in just under a full day. And after spending the last 23 hours and 47 minutes of my life in this world, I had to send it off the only way I knew how.
Every TNT that I'm placing feels so worth it. I thought I was gonna be proud of myself after this shit. I just feel more empty than I ever could have been. Maybe that's the suicidal in me talking, but hey, this turned me suicidal if anything. I have proven myself. Sayonara, bitch!